So in the previous session, we discussed about the workflow part, how to create and modify the workflow part. Normally, workflow creations or any kind of settings or changes that are to be made, so will be done by the roles like Jira admin. Okay, this is all something they have to do. So to make use of using Jira application by any user. So today I'm gonna explain you about because workflow part I have already told you, right? So workflows and all everything were discussed already. I'm gonna discuss you about the kind of tasks, right? So because we have different things, because we have even user stories also. So for a particular user story, whatever we are working on, so there can be a workflow changes can be made to the particular user story, or it can be a picker, it can be task, or it can be a bug. Bug will be identified over a period of time, not with immediate effect when there is any coding has taken place, right? So any bugs were identified that will be reflected here. So bugs, once the development is start, once the implementation has taken place, then bugs will come into existence. But here we have taken a story, right? So wherein we have taken, we are working on the story over here. So where we want to edit any kind of workflow. Okay, for example, given condition, like if you want to edit any kind of workflow, providing any kind of story points to the existing one, so that we can do it. Okay. Now I'm just taking one user story because there were already user stories were written in the earlier in the application I have shown in the previous session. But I'm just writing one user story and how this can work. Okay, and that I'll show you. So as a user, I'm writing one sample user story so that you guys will understand as a user. I want you to create login credentials so that I can use the system. Okay. Consider that this is the user story that we have written. Okay. Uh, Let me. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I'm limiting. Okay, I want to, as a user, I want you to create login credentials. This is what the user story was taken. Now, stories track functionality or feature expressed as a user goal, right? So here we need to express the kind of user goal, right? So what user goal wants? Login credentials, logging into the system. Okay? This is what the user goal was. Whoever the user can be it can be a business analyst team, or it can be a developer, it can be operations team, any user. User depends on the kind of responsibilities they're in. So that's what we have. So the next description fields, like wherein we need to mention about the description over here or something of that kind. Right. So any description we wants to be mentioned. Okay. So any description that are to be updated. So here we need to write on the description, default description. User wants to log in so that they can perform activities according to the role. Okay, according to the role. This is what the default description I have mentioned over here. So default description I have mentioned. Next, context field, like because status you want to know for that, right? So you need to know about the status as well, right? So at the same time, you need to know about assignee. To whom are we going to assign this? So are we going to do any assigning, right? So we are going to assign to someone of that, right? So we can do that. So normally you can drop down, right? So you can move down or you can move up. That is always there, right? So that is always there. That I'm not getting into that point. Right. So if you want to remove it, you can remove it. Otherwise, you can just keep it aside. Like okay, labels. Many adding of labels or that kind, right? So for example, you want to log in. Okay. This is a new label I have created. The same time, user. One more is new. Okay, user new, right? So these are the two default labels I have taken. This is for easy identification purpose. So parent, if there is any parent of that kind, we can add it. Otherwise, no need. Due date, even whatever the due date do we have. So the due date can be updated. Assume that if there is any kind of due date of that kind, we can update. Otherwise, no need. Team, here you need to mention about the kind of team, what we have. Okay, so team details can be updated, even starting date, when it is to be started. Consider that in which sprint this is needed. Consider that this is required in the first sprint. And story point estimation. Story point estimation normally is the one we'll be doing to calculate the default value. Okay, default value means effort estimation, how much it can be, right? So it can be normally we do in Fibonacci number. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, right? That's how generally the Fibonacci number story points will be provided. At the same time, we can mention even the sprint. Normally consider that it's a first sprint we are considering, so we can provide the sprint here. And necessarily once it is done, so that if there is any needed of workflow, we can add it. We can make the needed, right? So here, user, I want you to create login page successfully updated in the work type. Okay. Now, if you want to edit this particular workflow, okay, so that you want to work it, login. Okay. Login credentials. Login credentials are updated. Login. Successful. Login successful. So in the diagrammatical approach, you can see this is how we can update the workflow for the particular this thing, right? So if you want to update the activity, so we can update the activity. If you want to update any kind of activity of that kind, we can update. It may take some time. Okay, but anyway, that will take some time for us to update all that kind of. So this is how we need to, whenever we have taken any user story, we need to update all these, and subsequently any changes or any workflows which can be added for a particular user story, that can be done by us accordingly. This is also usually done by some kind of admin roles will be performed all this.